Okay, thank you. We're going to get started now. This is Chuck Hobart. We're doing cloud bursting, optimizing IT environments. And we've got Chuck Rush from Virginia on the phone, as well as Tony Stone in my office. And we're going to be presenting right now. I'm the moderator. I'm a solutions architect. Chuck Rush is the director of IT IS, and Tony Stone is also a solutions architect. So, welcome. It's either morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are. And we'll get started here. So the next slide here is our session agenda. And because there's so much hype about cloud computing in general, and I've actually started a series of spreadsheets that talk about what are the services being offered by the major cloud corporations. What we're finding is there are approximately 88 services that I've alone identified as being provided in the cloud environment. So it becomes very critical that we identify our vision and our view of what the cloud is before we can really go into some of the details. So what is cloud computing? What is the environmental review? What are security considerations? What's the testing perspective, the benefits of cloud computing, the readiness and maturity, and then we'll get to a Q&A at the end. So moving on to the next one, we'll introduce ourselves. I'm Chuck Hobart. My background is 10 years with IBM, 10 years with Microsoft, 5 years with Washington Mutual. Chuck, you want to give your overview?
Sure. This is Chuck Rush. I've been with BMC about 2.5 years. Before that, I was with an auto parts reseller, and then I spent 17 years with McDonald's Corporation building their global network.
And Tony?
And I'm Tony Stone. I'm a solutions architect also with BMC. I've been with BMC about the same amount of time as Chuck Rush, a couple of years. I've been inside the industry now for about 15, 18 years with various providers, a couple of the larger companies dealing primarily with labs, lab infrastructure, and how to handle the operations and processes within labs. Currently, the program we're working with is back to cloud, and cloud has kind of become a game plan for a lot of us these days.
Okay, so let's do our own panel definition of cloud computing. Chuck, do you want to do this?
Yeah, so just like Chuck said earlier, we've got as an internal, as a consulting company, obviously cloud computing offered us a lot of good thoughts for opportunities for places that we could provide some value. Besides that, it was always interesting, especially the technical guys, and we found that we were going in 12 different directions. So we made ourselves sit down, and this is what we as internally look at cloud computing. It's a paradigm computing that grew out of the availability and the reliability and the plethora of internet services that are now available to almost everybody. It allows us to have these virtual resources and then to provide services over that backbone. Services in the area of software, so shared applications, infrastructure, processing power, disk space, and then actually going as far as having an entire data center provided in the cloud on a virtual basis, whether it's one or multiple providers. The architecture, it's built on servers. These servers can range from lots of different places, but the servers are all kinds of virtualization technologies based on the provider, the cloud provider that's actually building the infrastructure. These services are accessible by the nature of cloud computing, by the nature of internet, to anywhere, to any kind of networking infrastructure. But no matter how many of these you have, no matter how many of these you put together to make a solution, they appear as a single point solution to the end user. As I mentioned earlier, a second ago, is that server infrastructure is the heart of the solution. Its virtualization has allowed this infrastructure to grow and shrink as the users need. Servers can be open source or they can be dedicated, again based on the provider, however they're building their infrastructure. Virtualization of the server is what allows us to customize point solutions for each individual customer that you have. And based on the need and based on the bandwidth available, physical infrastructure i.e. virtual infrastructure, can vary based on the need, based on the size being provided, and based on the speed and the bandwidth being developed. Chuck and Tony are going to tell us a little bit more about some more specific examples about how we're starting to implement this